is the United States attacking the backbone of their economy with fines up to $500 per day, up to $10,000, and criminal penalty? Government big enough to give you everything you want? Is a government big enough to take everything you have? Hi, this is Nathan. Welcome back to Independence Money. Today's video is for any small business owner out there or owner of an LLC, and why you should be concerned about being labeled a financial criminal by the United States government. The Corporate Transparency Act is something that I have very strong concerns about. I think this law, which went into effect January of this year and has some deadlines attached to it and some very stiff financial penalties, is going to be looked at through the lens of history as an act or a law that single-handedly runs hundreds of thousands of small businesses out of business. And the reason why is because failure to comply in a timely manner by the deadline set forth are penalized with fines up to $500 per day, up to $10,000, and criminal penalties potentially with up to a couple of years in prison. Why is the United States attacking the backbone of their economy, small business owners? It was said in 2008 and 9 crisis that when all the big businesses were on the ropes, the stock market, the banking industry, that if it wasn't for small business, the United States would have been thrown from a great recession into a depression. These are mom and pop companies mostly that are just trying to eke out a living in this complicated environment and economy with inflation, and now we're throwing even more regulations and laws on top of it. The biggest concern I have with the Corporate Transparency Act is how little publicity it has. I, as your host, know about it only because I'm in the financial industry as an investment advisor. But many of the other small business owners I've talked to, including some in the financial industry, have never even heard about this. I think it is the United States' responsibility for an act and a law that has such severe criminal and financial penalties to at least incorporate it into your tax filing software, educate your CPAs and accountants, and at the very minimum, send certified mail to every small business owner out there, warning of them of this act. But you know what? I'm wearing my famous shirt today. Government big enough to give you everything you want? Is a government big enough to take everything you have? So let's break into this law and let's get into this and see if we can make some sense of it. So first things first, it's under the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. A little bit of background on FinCEN. It came about after, the 2001 scenario where, obviously we had the World Trade Centers and everything like that. And, they were wanting to crack down on international money laundering. And I have a couple of accounts that are international bank accounts. And so I'm familiar with the FATCA and the FinCEN reporting. It's complicated. I use attorneys to file it. It costs thousands of dollars a year to stay in compliance because, again, the penalties are very severe, $500 a day, up to $10,000. But the international banking landscape is already being policed by FATCA and FinCEN to weed out the bad actors that are involved in criminal activities and money laundering, and rightfully so. We don't want terrorism coming against the United States again. But here our lawmakers have geniusly decided to turn that radar onto small businesses. Now, I have a problem with this because as an LLC small business, you already, if you're going to do commerce, already have to open a bank account. Banks domestically have rules called Know Your Customer. And so they have to obtain your EIN, a copy of your EIN number from the IRS that you get. They have to validate your driver's license, run background and credit checks on you, check with the Secretary of State. So basically, the vast majority of operating LLCs have already been scrubbed by the financial system. And we know who their owners are and who have signing authorities when they open a bank account. Furthermore, the vast majority of these companies file a tax return. So we're already reporting to the IRS. But our genius lawmakers have decided to give small business another compliance headache by reporting to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network information that they should already have, but with very steep penalties. I love showing their website right here because although they're trying to counteract nefarious activities and criminal organization, right here they have an alert saying that FinCEN has been reported of recent fraudulent attempts to solicit information from individuals and entities that may be subject to requirements under the CTA. So they're creating a law to try to eliminate illegal activities, and it what creates more of them? Go figure. So let's dive into this. So who is required to report under the Corporate Transparency Act? Well, first off, in typical government confusion, they rename the actual reporting requirements under beneficial owner information, which is really what they're trying to get. Now, let me try to play this from the government's point of view. They're trying to eliminate terrorist organizations and criminal organizations from opening up LLCs domestically, since they've done such a great job at preventing them internationally, which is good and desired. They're trying to say that they're trying to prevent them from opening them domestically. Well, then why not just go after LLCs that don't report tax returns and have bank accounts in the US? Pretty genius idea, but they're not smart. So you have to report the beneficial owners in a nutshell if you are a control person that makes decisions for the LLC or own 25% or more of the company. Now, there are some exempted entities that are not required to report. And largely, if I can locate that screen, bear with me just a second, it's right here. So basically, if you have a license to operate, like you're a bank or a credit union, or you're an investment advisor, like one of my companies or one of my other companies, an insurance company,